Hello everybody. Happy summer. Today is the last day of my summer vacation from work. Tomorrow is my first day back, July 31st. And I knew I needed to make a video before I went back. I had two main goals. Make a video and finish the wee village. So for like 8 or 10 hours, probably 10 or 12 hours yesterday, I worked on the wee village and all morning this morning. But I'm happy to say it is finished. So if you hang on till the end of the video, you can see at least finished for this year. I'll show it at the end of the video. I tweak it, I add little things every year, but I've decided for this year it's done. Oh, we do have to just tweak a couple of things on the water feature. A couple of places where water's escaping, and I need to fix a couple things on the little mountain where it begins, the little tower of rocks. But those will be easy fixes. We'll do those over the next couple of weeks. I need my husband's help for those. So stick around to the end if you'd like to see that. I'll also I think I'm going to make a separate video kind of giving the history of the wee village. And I think I have pictures from very back at the beginning. So maybe I'll put together a little history up through now and make that as a separate video. So watch for that later. Sunday, boss daughter and bossy daughter were both here, and so I convinced them that they needed to make a video. Marie was actually stitching on something, so I made a video from them on Sunday. I was the cameraman, and I will insert that right here.
Hi Flosstube, it's boss daughter and
bossy daughter.
Mom's filming this time.
Yay!
So you'll hear her voice, but she's not in this part of the video. I'm sure she'll make the rest of the video later this week. But bossy daughter actually has cross stitch to show. Ta-da!
Take the pattern off.
Oh yeah, take the pattern off.
There's nothing under it.
Take the pattern off.
There's nothing under it.
You can't show the pattern.
Why? Oh, because it's illegal.
Yeah.
Put it forward so we can see it better.
Ta-da!
Yeah, she's really well done. Okay, tell us about it.
Yes.
It's snowmen's. There's
What's it?
6 of them. And the
Okay.
pattern's called 6 Fat Men.
Oh,
Lizzie
is it really?
Kate.
Oh, cute.
And you don't have to do all 6 of them. They're all separate. But you can put them all together if you want to. And then you go online and they have a thing that puts them all together.
Oh, okay. So why are you cross stitching snowmen in July?
Because I'm having a baby. Yay!
Yay!
I'm having a baby on New Year's Eve, and I couldn't find any fireworks ones, and so we're doing snowmen's.
Yay!
So you're gonna put his name and the date and
Yeah.
everything?
All the places that there are words. Like right here it says best friends, and right here it says Snowden and stuff like that. I'm just going to leave all the words out, and then we can put different words in. We're going to see how old the baby was.
Yeah.
How old?
Yeah.
What time the baby was born, and how much the baby weighed when he was born, and his name and stuff like that.
They might be like the first new baby of the year if you play your cards right. So
Can't you win a prize if you do that?
Yeah.
maybe, I don't know.
Can you win a prize?
My
That's
baby
a
wasn't
two-
born
you
anywhere
win a
near
baby.
that time of the year.
I want a prize. I want it to be after the first of the year so that my insurance will.
Oh,
So then we can have whatever we want the rest of the year.
Yep, goals.
So Michael can get cosmetic surgery. Just kidding.
Yeah.
He just wants LASIK.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, he wants LASIK.
I had a dream that I got
And he
LASIK.
wants the tumor in his face taken out, but
What?
LASIK's cooler. He has a tumor right behind his cheekbone right here.
Oh, I had no
It
idea.
doesn't do anything, it just lives there.
Okay. No, but I had a dream that I had LASIK, and I woke up and I could not remember what it was called to save my life. And in my mind, it was just that I had laser eye surgery, and I woke up convinced that I could see. And then I started
On the
looking
radio,
around.
they say laser hair removal.
Yes.
Laser. So
Uh-huh.
that's probably why.
Yeah. So, anyways. So,
You can't be in the video.
I
Back
can't
up.
remember.
Maria, ask what Catherine's working on.
What are you working on?
Okay, I want you all to know that I pulled out all of my cross stitch stuff the other day, and I laid it all out, and I looked at it, and I matched it all up, and I sorted it, and then I put it all away again. I haven't started anything yet. I thought about starting it, but summer is just a bad time for me, so maybe later. But
I
did think
invited
about
her
it.
to come to a thing the other day, but she couldn't
Yeah.
come because she didn't have any cross stitch.
It was so rude. You texted me and you were like, we could go to mom's house and just leave the boys here and go cross stitch. Oh, except you don't have anything to cross stitch. And I was like, whoa, shots fired. What the heck? What did I do to you? But it's fine. It's all good.
It really wasn't meant to be rude. It was
I
really
know.
just an afterthought.
She really
like,
forgot.
oh crap, never mind.
Never mind. But it's
You
such
should
a
have just
problem.
made her start your other project.
Oh,
My
yeah.
campa. Should I show her my campa?
Yeah.
Campa man?
Yeah.
I don't actually have it.
No, it's becoming a problem actually. I'm gonna have to start something just because of peer pressure, just because that's the way my life is built. It's like I go places and I need to
Well,
have
I
a
don't
cross
cross
stitch
stitch,
project.
so if I'm cross stitching, that means you have to.
Right? No, this like the world's all upside down now.
It's a campa.
It's gonna be so cute.
Do it again.
Focus.
There you go.
So cute. So Relaxing at the Beach by Marie Driscoll.
Yeah. It's gonna be super cute.
And what else is happening in your two lives?
No. Go that way.
You can't be in this video. Daddy will be mad.
What else is happening in your two lives?
We're moving.
Oh yeah. I'm
To
still in denial. What's
Saratoga.
that happening? It's fine. I don't have to think about it for 2 more weeks.
My husband and I are buying a house in Saratoga, and Catherine has to come with us.
Yep.
She likes us.
Yep.
And she lives with them.
It's still, I live with them. And it's still more convenient to leave
And it
my
has
son.
like a separate apartment, right?
Yeah,
for
it
you
does.
guys.
And she watches my son during the day. And it's still more convenient to move with them and be able to leave my son there some days than to have to drive him to her house and then go wherever I'm going.
We're gonna put him in a Saratoga school.
you're gonna have to do, if you can pull that off, you'll be my guest.
I'll work on it.
Okay. 'Cause right now it's gonna be like a 30-minute drive, so it's gonna be an adventure.
All right.
It'll be good.
Thank you, girls. Say goodbye.
Bye, Flosstube.
Bye.
Hope you enjoyed the craziness that is the usual at my house on Sundays. But I love when they're all over visiting. Someone asked me why. I thought I'd retell the story of why it's boss daughter and bossy daughter. And I can't remember. Did I just do this in the last video? Now I'm losing my mind. See what happens when you wait 3 weeks to make a video. When Catherine was the very first video we did with Catherine, I was explaining that she was the oldest child. She was introducing herself and she said she was the boss. And so I told her I was going to call her boss daughter. And then when Marie was on, I told her that, well, if Catherine's boss daughter, what's your name? And she said, well, I'm bossy daughter. So that's how they got their names. All right, let's jump into whips. Okay, I had a new start. Let's start with a new start. How's that? I have a good friend, Linda, who lives in California. And she and I have been wanting to do a stitch along together forever. We just were trying to find the right piece to do. And she was interested in doing one called Innocence by Cross Stitch Antiques. And I told her I can't handle the border on Innocence, but I already had this one in my stash. Band of Roses 1845 antique sampler from the Headmistress sampler series by Cross Stitch Antiques. Same designer, or same person that charted the original piece as Innocence that she has. So she last I heard from her, she hadn't decided yet whether she was going to do this one or Innocence. So we'll either do just a Cross Stitch Antiques stitch along. I'll be doing this one and she'll be doing Innocence, or she might do this one as well. She hadn't decided yet. But I think it's beautiful. And it doesn't have a border. I love borders. I love the way they look. I just don't like stitching them. This one is going to be so fun. It has so much detail down there in the bottom. Lots of colors. It is charted for DMC. Well, I'll tell you that in a minute. There's a church. Just, oh, a beautiful butterfly. all kinds of cool detail down there in the bottom. The top is a really, this whole top third alphabet is a really dark blue. It was charted for DMC 823. I'm doing mine on 40 count. Maritime white from Lakeside, I believe, Lakeside Linens. And when I started it, I started with that 823 DMC one strand, and was not happy with the coverage since it's such a dark color and it's going to be on such a light fabric. So since it was the whole top third of the sampler, I went ahead and converted it to a Soie 1416, I believe, which is almost the exact same color as 823. This is how many colors it has. I'll leave the rest DMC. I just wanted those letters to be nice and densely covered. 1416. A Soie 1416 is the blue, the dark blue I'm going to use for the top. Alphabet. And I was so excited to start that. We're going to go very, very slow. But it is a gorgeous sampler and I can't wait to work on that. I really like that. The 1800s, the samplers from the 1800s when they started using, probably because the technology changed so that they had all those different colors that they didn't used to have. I had a finish. We'll just go all out of order today. This was a Mania piece called Back to the Future by the Witchy Stitcher. It's a PDF download. I think I found her on Etsy. I changed it to be I put our names in the years of our marriage because it's our 33rd anniversary in July. Otherwise I stitched it exactly as charted on 18 count Ada, black Ada. But it just makes me laugh. This movie came out, Back to the Future came out the year before we were married, so I can't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure we saw this movie together when we were dating. And I have seen all the movies in the series, and my husband plays around with words like that all the time, so it was perfect for us. Makes me laugh. It was a Mania start that I had assigned to work on during July, because July is my anniversary, and I knew I was going to do it as an anniversary piece. So I worked on it in July and finished it. I'm so excited. So my Mania piece for August, which was assigned to August to work on, because I like to work on things during the seasons that it is called Summertime by Stitchery. Looks like this. Summertime. I am doing it on 32 count white Lugana, and this is how far I am. Thoroughly enjoying this. Has the most beautiful colors in it, and it feels like summer, and it is summer. So I'm loving that. The green needle minder I got from someone at StitchCon. I can see her face, but I can't think of her name. And then this is a needle minder I bought at Bear Lake in one of their little tourist shops. It's a girl, looks like she's reading a book at the beach. All right. I think I already showed you that I finished the stocking for Hannah, and I've showed you that, and that I think I showed you already that I started the stocking for my other daughter-in-law, Lauren. Where's the front? I'm doing the music room for her. Looks like this. Lots of musical instruments. This is the Heirloom Stocking series, originally in the Cross Stitch and Country Crafts series of magazines. They come out every July, August. This one was in July, August 91. Also reprinted in a book. You can also get them still on the Cooler Design Studio website, Kooler. And 123 Stitch has started carrying some of them as well, listing Cooler Design Studio as the designer. And this is where I am. I was able to get the violin and the trumpet, I believe, up there on the top and add the side ribbons. I haven't done any back stitching yet. As soon as I get the wallpaper, there's some greenery around here, and then as soon as I get the wallpaper finished, at least where it's touching, I'll go ahead and backstitch that window and these instruments just so I have something pretty to look at while I work on it. This one has a lot more color changes than the other stocking. It came later in the series. They got a little more detailed, a lot more color changes as they went along, a lot more objects in the room as they went along. So this one will be lots of fun. That's my Tuesday project. Oh, Shepherd's Fold is my Thursday project. And the bad things about having them assigned to a day is that if something comes up that day and you don't work on it, then they don't get work done. And when that happens, I usually try and work on them Saturday or something, somewhere else in the week, because I knew they didn't get their turn. But this one has not gotten a lot of love. I'm trying to finish this ruler. This is a several part series by Shepherd's Bush called Shepherd's Fold. This part that you can see the edge of is the top of a box, and then there's lots of little pieces that go in the box. I'm working on the ruler holder. I'm finished the top half. Now I have to do the bottom half, and I'm working on this edging that goes all the way around. That is instrumental in finishing it, so it's important that I do it. It's a three-sided stitch. If you're thinking this heart looks like we're on the back side, we are. The heart is actually stitched on the back side, so that on the right side it looks terrible, and when you put the ruler holder together, this gets covered up with a button so you can't see it, because it will fold up to the other side. When it folds in half, it only goes to about right here, and then you can see this heart, and then that's where the ruler slides in. Clear as mud, right? But that one definitely needs to get some more love. All the little pieces came as little kits, and they were all on separate pieces of paper, separate pieces of fabric, little pieces of fabric pre-cut. This is what the ruler holder will look like when I'm done. If this ruler was out, you'd see the heart behind there. And then this is the back side where they covered up the back of that heart with a little felt flower. I don't stitch in hand, and all those little pieces of fabric were driving me crazy, so I sewed them all together into one big piece, which is why it's so crazy on the Q-snaps. But it's a lot easier for me to work on, and it will actually get finished that way. What's in this project bag? Seize the Day by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. And I did get caught up again. Comes out on the 25th of every month, so this is the section that came out just last week. We got to do the mermaid and the seahorse, a couple fish, maybe just one fish and some bubbles and some seaweed. I'm trying to remember. Oh, and that top seaweed. The mermaid was charted to be this tan color was going to be her skin, and this yellow color was going to be her hair. And I just decided I wanted her to be a different color. So I made her, she's kind of a lavender colored skin, and she has red hair, and then I changed the front of this fish to be the yellow color that would have been her hair. But that's where that one is so far. This was only a 9-month one. It did start in January, I believe. So it only has maybe two more parts, and then it will be finished. That one's been a lot of fun. I'll put all the fabrics in the description box below. I want to say this was on Maritime White. I know it's 36 count. I just can't remember what color it was. Lakeside Maritime White, 36 count. Called for DMC colors. And this project bag is Words to Live By Tiny Modernist. It is also a monthly mystery stitch along. I'm using the called for DMC colors on black linen. I'm pretty sure it's 32 count black linen, but I will have the correct information in the description box. And this one comes out about the 15th of every month. Is that right? Yes. So the one that came out this month was this one. Keep your face to the sunshine and you cannot see a shadow. I think I need to, the word sunshine's backstitched on top of this yellow. I think I need to go, I did it with one strand. I think I need to go back and do it with two strands so you can see it better. And here it is all together. It is a 13-month stitch along, so it started in January and it will not be done until the end of January. Beautiful colors, lots of fun to work on. I am so tired from working outside on the miniature village. I'm so happy how it turned out, but oh, I'm exhausted. I finally came in and had a drink before I made the video and had a sandwich and a lot of water and some more water, and I probably should have brought some water down here to drink. This is Victorian Charm, which is my Saturday project. I usually work on it on Saturdays. Hasn't gotten a lot of love, but it has. I did work on it a little bit. Here is what it will look like when it's finished. And here is where it is now. I've been working right here on the top of the lamppost, and all this colors of green and some green and black up in here. There's a dark green that you can barely see. I need to finish this side and this side, backstitch everything. Where did I end backstitching? I ended backstitching about right here. So I need to backstitch everything down to here, and then I'll move the Q-snaps again and start on the first floor. The ground floor, sort of. I think it has steps up to it. But love this one. It is so fun to work on, especially when you get this far along, so it really looks gorgeous when you're working on it. I definitely enjoy the second half. Okay, starting is always fun, right? But I definitely enjoy the second half of a piece more than I enjoy the first half when it looks like nothing. That is a dimensions kit on the kit fabric, 18 count navy blue Ada, with the kit threads. This is Wild Salt Air, and the other one that I started at StitchCon, Alphabet with Hair by Lottie Da, I believe. Wild Salt Air is by Hands On Design, but it hasn't changed since the last time I showed it to you. So we're going to Bear Lake the end of August again, because Michael couldn't come with us last time. So I think we're all going again the end of August. So maybe I'll pull it out when I'm there again and finish it up, because it's definitely a summer piece. I need to finish it before the summer is over. Oh, This bag from Shepherd's Bush is my healing garden that I finally got caught up. Well, caught up at least to about a week ago. Looks like I need to catch it up again. But it was like 3 months behind. Right now it's only like 2 weeks behind. That won't take me very long. Oh, and one more side. All right, here's what it's looking like. This is Temperature Garden by Stitchin Mommy. I purchased the pattern from her. It's a PDF download to track the temperature every day. I'm using it to track headaches so that my neurologist and I have a better record, and I knew if I was doing a cross stitch I would be better at writing the information down in my bullet journal every day so that I would have the data when I needed to get it caught up. It has worked very well. I do write it down every day because I know that it would drive me crazy to not have the information I need to get the cross stitch caught up. So I adapted her pattern. Her petals have all different numbers of petals, and I needed to know what the day of the week was, so I adapted her pattern and changed it a little bit. I made my flowers a little different. They each have 7 petals, so I can tell where the Mondays are. So if you're wondering why mine looks different from hers, that's why. I used PC Stitch to make an adaptation of her Temperature Garden pattern. And she also has a hot air balloon pattern where you can track the temperature, and a quilt pattern where you can track the temperature every day. They are beautiful. Sarah, Stitchin Mommy, she has a YouTube channel as well, and you can find her on Etsy. Twisted band sampler, people. So excited, it made it to the corner, finally. So you can see that is the corner where it changed from light green to light blue. There's the corner. These specialty stitches took a long time. The light green has 3 rows and the light blue has 3 rows. It's a row of rice stitch, and then a row of eyelet stitch, and then a row of rice stitch for the light green, and then the same thing over again on the light blue. And rice stitch and eyelet stitch are both very time-consuming stitches, so a lot of hours and love went into this specialty stitch band. And then I finished it and was able to start that light blue cross stitch band. Very excited about that. I can't even see what you're seeing. Oh, I think I might, this was one of my Stitch 9 challenge pieces. I think I might actually make it now that I finally made it to the corner. Whew. So very thrilled with how that is coming along. I worked on Peaceable Kingdom by Theron. I was able to finish the grass finally. That's been going on for, I don't know, 6 or 8 months. I've been working on that grass. And then this last row is just a little piece of road. It's a brown, one row of brown. And now I was able to roll the key snaps, and now I can actually see the bottom of the piece. So this is also a Stitch 9 challenge. Hoping to finish this by the end of the year. This has been going on for 5 or 6 years. I don't know that I've been working on this. So we'll happy to see. It's broken into 3. There's a tree on one side and a deer on the other, not too bad. And then there's a middle section that's a beautiful scene of some hills and a sea in the background. I can't remember. All over one over one. So that'll take a while. But I'm glad it's moving along. It was a class piece, so you can't by the pattern. Sorry. And then the piece I work on Sundays was also a class piece by Theron called Morning Has Broken. Which is also not available to buy. You would have to take the class from her to get it. It looks like this. And I have worked on it, not a lot, but a little bit. Was able to finish the outlining for this middle section up here. Worked a little bit on that alphabet. Which, really funny thing, this alphabet is it's Theron. You know, she's the designer. That's clearly one of her favorite alphabets, and she can use it as many times as she wants. I don't care. I think it's a beautiful alphabet too. The funny thing is that I'm working on it on that piece, and she just happened to use that exact same alphabet right here. It runs all the way across. It has a little narrow band with that exact same alphabet. Different color floss. But I thought, what are the odds that I would be working on those two pieces and be at the alphabet part at the exact same time on both of them? I mean, really, what are the odds? Oh, and that little alphabet is over 1. So it's a little time consuming. I think that's all the whips. Hopefully I didn't forget one. Poor thing if I forgot it, right? For haul. I just yesterday got a package in the mail from Diana Zaslow. She has her own YouTube channel, and she and I were able to sit next to each other, meet each other finally, and sit next to each other at StitchCon. It was so fun to meet her. I love Diana. She sent me this card that looks just like me, don't you think? Makes me want to be at Bear Lake right now. And then she's a thank you note for some stuff I gave her at StitchCon, and then she sent me some patterns. There's Just Nan Christmas Wishes. Look how cute those are. So gonna make those into some ornaments. And then she sent me Bright Needle Christmas House. Diana, how did you know? I have been looking for this and the Bright Needle Dollhouse as well forever. Years I've been looking for those. Look how cute that is. I am so stitching that. And she sent me this summer wreath pattern that doesn't have a picture, so I'll hold it way back here. Also, darling, darling, darling. Thank you, Diana. That was so nice of you. You didn't need to send me that. So sweet. I was shopping at my LNS, the Craft Center of Fine Stitchery, several times this summer. I got some more of Pat's needles. They sell them in these little packages in case you just want to buy a few. Excited about that. I got some little, I think these came from Shepherd's Bush. Now I can't remember. It's been too long. 2 little Mill Hill kits for ornaments. I bought this. This was Shepherd's Bush. I saw Sonia at StitchCon brought her finished Anniversaries of the Heart by Blackbird Designs. Oh, to StitchCon, and was so I could see it. Oh, it's the most gorgeous thing. And I loved how she personalized each block and made it into a house that was, or a museum or something that from her life or a memory that she had. It was, oh, just gorgeous. So then I decided I'm going to have to, I've been thinking about it for years, but now I'm going to have to do it. So I've started collecting. I bought 3 at Shepherd's Bush, the only 3 that they had. So now I'm going to have to see if I can find all of those looking on the internet, it looks like it's number 5 that you just can't find anywhere. So I'll have to put that on my list of things to watch for. I bought Happy Birthday, number 6. And I bought Moonlight Visitor, number 9. And I bought A Wish for You, number 3. I'm going to have to write down on my phone which ones I already have so that I remember which ones I'm looking for. I bought 2 designs by Plum Street Sampler. These were at the Craft Center of Fine Stitchery. She had this made into a little pillow at the Craft Center. We just call it the Craft Center. It's the Craft Center of Fine Stitchery, but we just call it the Craft Center. It's in Salt Lake City up on Highland Drive, 2000 East, and Fort Union. It's where Fort Union runs into Highland Drive. So it's about 7400 South and 2000 East. Sampler House 4. She had it made into, stitched over one, I believe, made into a little pillow. Oh, it was beautiful. It's sitting on the treadle sewing machine if you happen to be there and you're looking for it. Oh, it was pretty. And then I also bought the Salt Shakers Autumn Salt Boxes. I need to make a little small, trying to decide which one of these I'm going to make into a little small pillow. And then I got some weeks. I believe this is the colors for the salt, the autumn salt boxes. Clearly I'm terrible at that. All right, I think that is all the haul. I've probably forgotten something, but I don't know what it was, because I forgot it. For old finishes, I thought I'd show you Octopus's Garden, which I stitched a couple of years ago. I think it was the year it came out, maybe 2014. That would make sense. But it was back before I was very good about writing. I had a little lull there where I didn't write down things very well. So it calls for cedar plank fabric. I'm not sure if this is cedar plank or not. Blackbird Designs, Octopus's Garden. It was a fun one. It's close to, if I wasn't using cedar plank, I was using something very similar. And then I was, because of the Magical Mystery Tour series, when I pulled that out, I was thinking about the Yellow Submarine one. So that's what I wish I was stitching on right now. That just caught my eye and I thought, oh, I love that one. And this one is, the called for fabric is cedar plank as well. Not sure if I would do it on cedar plank or not, but it certainly makes the yellow pop. That is a cute one. Okay, I think that's everything. We'll see you, I'll go back to work tomorrow, and hopefully I'll be back next week with a WIP update. And I hope you all have a fabulous summer. We'll see you later. Bye-bye. All right, I am putting in my wee village today. I thought I'd give you a before picture. This is where it was. A lot of this was the same as last time I showed you. This is what I had left from last year. I just kind of set out what I had to see what I still needed to fill in. Not really anything up there except 2 peonies and a planter sitting there. Pile of rocks we made while we were digging. We have pretty much finished the water feature. That's why I can now put in the wee village. The stream starts up there in the corner. That's the last thing to do on the water feature. I need to work on that tower of rocks a little bit. We're going to fill it in with a few more rocks, and we tested it yesterday and it has some issues where the water's going where it's not supposed to as it comes down. So we will fix that with silicone glue and some rocks. That works really well so that the water all comes down and into the stream like it's supposed to. and then it goes down. This stream bed is a layer of concrete and then a layer of grout, and the rocks are set in the grout. And I collected these rocks from my parents' property at Strawberry River before the forest fire. We still haven't been able to get back in there since last summer. And it'll be a few more years, it looks like, before we can get in. But I waded out into the river and collected buckets of these flat rocks that are in the bottom of the river. My feet about froze off while I was doing it. My husband was helping me and we brought him home. So that's where I collected all these lovely flat little river rocks. After we set the rocks into the grout, it has 3 coats of grout sealer on it, and then the last thing I sealed it with was concrete sealer, a wet look concrete sealer, so that they are shiny. They look shiny all the time like they're wet. So they come down and they go into this little pool, which has rocks set in it, and then the very bottom is a pink plastic kitchen funnel that is set into the bottom there, sealed in with silicone, and I just filled it up with some pretty rocks I collected at the beach at Bear Lake. The water goes down there through a tube that we buried under the wall before we built the wall. There's actually a conduit under there that we have. The return tube is in there. The tube connecting the bottom of that pool comes down under there, and the electricity wire to run the pump runs through that conduit as well. Before we started, we buried the return water tube and the electrical wire underneath the stream bed. And then the water goes under the wall and back up here, bubbles out right there, and comes down the stream and into this bucket, which has a water pump at the bottom, which my husband decided does not pump enough water, so he's ordering a new water pump. And then I have a very large, beautiful plate that sits on there. It says, I have gathered all of my supplies. I have them all out here today. All of my rocks. Sorry, probably making you seasick. I forgot to get the plate. This was a plate that I bought at Kohl's, and my husband drilled a hole in the middle of it for me. I think he went through 3 drill bits to get that hole drilled in there. He's wonderful. So the water will go down onto the plate and then be collected and returned back up to the top. So the water feature is mostly finished, at least far enough finished that I can plant now. This was our old water feature. I'm going to repurpose it and make it into a little mountain or something. So that's what it looks like right now. Lots of dirt on this new section, and what was left of the old section and our new wall. And then here is all of my stuff that I have gathered over the years. I have buckets and buckets of rocks that mostly came from our Strawberry River, my parents' Strawberry River property. A lot of them out of this yard when they dug the hole for this new addition on our house right here. Our entire garden area over there was a huge pile of dirt full of rocks because we are in the path of the Grove Creek that has run through here for who knows how many hundred of years. And then they piped in the Grove Creek and then built housing developments around the edges. So anyone who lives in this area, if you dig very far down, you hit rocks. So there are, as you can see, anywhere where the dirt, because they ripped up all of our grass to make the addition, anywhere where the dirt is exposed, it is just rocks. So I have a great source of rocks in my yard. Bring some home from Strawberry River every time we go up. Hopefully we'll get up there in the next few years. We'll be able to get back in. And that's what I'm working on today. Okay, I forgot to show you what I bought this morning at the nursery center. So these are all the plants I bought to put into my wee village today. Quite a few, mostly annual ground cover because that works really well in a miniature village. I do like height. It's nice to have a variation of height and low. Yeah, I know that was not correct grammar. I have some chives and some lemongrass because that was in my village before and I want to put it back. Sometimes annuals will come back year after year, depending how close they are to the house so they don't get so cold. And then up front, in the front seat that wouldn't fit back here, I bought some snapdragons just to add. Sometimes I like to put a couple of annual flowers in the wee village every year for some color and some height. They're easy to replace if there's just a few. And that brings up the subject of money for my wee village. These are the snapdragons that we planted in this front yard. I don't know, 5 years ago or longer, and they just keep coming back every year. I think it's because they're close to the house, so they don't die in the winter. I don't know. They stay warm enough. I thought I'd give you a look at this front yard village. I did do some work on it. Here's the back side. Let me walk around to the front of it. All right, progress update. I've kind of made a plan, a basic shapes, set out some basic shaped areas and decided where the houses are going to be. That wall is north facing and the eave above it, the overhang of the roof, overhangs a good 2 feet. So this edge of the garden is not going to get, in fact I've been watching the sun to see there's parts of it, probably the far sides of those stepping stones, that are never going to see the sun. In fact, this side of them are going to see very little. Probably clear over to that yellow, green and yellow house is not going to see very much sun, rarely. So it's going to have to be shade loving plants and maybe a lot of xeriscape landscaping for these homeowners because they're just not going to see the sun very much over there. And then I had to think about when I'm weeding this, if I have to get up to that water feature in the corner to work on it, and when I'm weeding, you have to have a way to get into it without stepping on things. So I made a path with some of our extra bricks to where you could step to get up into that corner. And then that kind of created some shapes over there. I'm going to have that little black house is going to be a xeriscape black rock property over there. That little house will have its little xeriscaping going on up there. This section I kind of wanted to recreate what I had before. The houses are different, but the circular shale rock driveway will be the same. And these shapes over here created by the stream made a good spot for those two little houses. I think up here what I'm going to do, my dad made these little bridges for me. He sliced a big log up for me to make these little bridges. That one's going to be a dry, I'll dig a little trench into a dry riverbed with stones in it. That is a piece left over from our other water feature. I'm just going to dig it down into the ground so it's down level on the ground where it's supposed to be instead of sticking up like it is right now. And it won't have water in it. It'll just be a pretend river stream going into this. This is a plate I bought. It's just, you know, Melmac. Can't think of what the right word is for that.
I'm just going to bury it a little bit and plant plants around it. It will be a pretend pool. It won't have water in it. I bought it when I was trying to find a plate for that because I didn't know if then I found this one that I liked better, the pottery plate. So this plastic plate will just sit right there and be a pretend. And then of course this guy has the awesome property. He has a stream behind him and a little lake and little pool in front of him. These two homes will be on the other side of this, either side of this dry riverbed. And then I think these two, there's going to be a little hill right here with this old wooden house from the thrift store. It'll be at the top of the hill, and then these two little houses will be at the bottom. I think there will be a road coming, maybe steps down from that, and a road in between the two houses down to this. Then I'll make some kind of a curved road, flat surface over to here. I've decided I don't want to move that pile of rocks, so it is going to be a natural rock quarry feature that's going to stay there. And it's really nice because I keep throwing rocks on that pile and then I keep using those rocks. And then I think over here, my dad made me some rustic looking little birdhouses out of a piece of hollow log and then a slice of wood that sits on top for the roof. I'll move that planter and this will be the rustic forest area over here with some very natural log looking homes over here. So that is my plan. I'm on the shady side of the house right now because it's morning, and this is west, the west and north. That wall is north facing, this wall is west facing. The sun is coming to get me. So I'll work out here as long as I can until it's too hot. Then I'll have to go in and, I don't know, cross stitch until I have enough shade in the afternoon to come back out, early evening, to come out and work some more. Now I'm going to go get all the plants out of the back of my car and kind of set them out where I think maybe I'm going to use them. Okay, I've set all the plants out kind of where I'm thinking I'm going to use them. Putting the shade-loving plants in the shade and making sure the sun-loving plants are out where they're going to get plenty of sun. It's 12:30. As you can see, the sun is creeping up on me. Nothing's planted yet. It's just set out where I think I might use it. Those purple ones and those snapdragons back there I'm going to put in strategic spots later. I have ivy to go over my arches, one there and one down there and one for the trellis. I think it's time for lunch and some water. All right, after like 8 hours yesterday and another 3 hours today, I am done with the garden for this year, I think. We have a couple more tweaks to make on the stream, the water feature. It works. We just need to fix a couple of places where water is getting over the sides, and we ordered a new pump that pushes more water. I forgot to tell you that the water feature is hooked to a solar panel on the roof and a battery just inside this wall that charges from the solar panel, and that's what runs the water feature. And my husband has a cool little timer on it for me so I can set it for like 45 minutes while I'm out here, because if I leave it running accidentally, it will eventually run out of water because it just evaporates and leaks out in a couple of places, and then it would ruin the pump. So that's why we have a timer. All right. This is a lot of stuff I collected from Green River, Utah. It's a desert. These, that's one of the houses that my good friend Cindy Glad made for me. She's a potter. In fact, I believe she threw this form and then her husband decorated it. I love it. And I thought it worked well with my stuff from my rocks and stuff from Green River, Utah, out in the desert. And this section of the house, if you'll remember, I told you this is north facing, so this is not going to get any sun. Very little sun over here, so it was a great place for a rock garden. This was similar to what I had before, and it made me happy to restore what I had before our addition onto the house. The houses are different. I started with some bird houses that I just already owned, because when I started I didn't have very little money, so I just started with what I had. But now they are 3 more houses made out of pottery that my friend Cindy Glad, Muddy Pants Pottery. She has a website, Instagram, Facebook. If you want to go check her out, she made all of these houses. I love them. I always try and make a walkway in front of each house with the little yard. Usually try and plant some kind of grass or something in the front yard that kind of looks like a yard to delineate the spaces. I collect cool rocks wherever I go when it's legal, not when it's illegal, only when it's legal and I'm on property that I know who owns it and have asked permission, or my parents own it. So I like to put cool rocks in. I did plant some ivy to climb over this little trellis. I'll have to keep cutting it back vigilantly or it will try and take over everywhere. Another little fairy house my friend Cindy Glad made. This is so the water feature starts up there, comes down, I'll show you that part in a minute, comes under the wall, bubbles up right here, and then comes down this little stream, this little bridge my dad made for me, cut up a log, made some bridges for me. That was left from our water feature from our old village, and I left it in as kind of a mountain. Another fairy house that my friend Cindy Glad made. And then the water goes down into that big 5-gallon bucket that's buried in the ground. This was a plate I bought at Kohl's, and my husband drilled a hole through the middle. I think he said he went through 3 drill bits to get that one hole through the middle. And then the water recirculates back up to the top. From here over was still, I took everything out of it to keep it safe, all the things, but I left the plants in. And they survived from 2 years ago, which was the last time when I had to remove everything for the new addition, the construction. So I had to put all the rocks back in, but the plants were still here, and I just put the houses back where they were. This is a cool house I bought online that has a roof specially made to hold plants. I always put succulents in it because they survive well up there in that little bit of dirt. My little wishing well. I always try and make a path to every house and a way to get where you need to go, even though obviously there's not real people living here. This is a little gazebo with a little chair underneath. Again, this I bought it on Amazon, specifically made to hold plants in the top. I probably started this village 7 or 8, maybe 10, I don't know, years ago, so I've just collected little bits over the years. People have given me gifts of little things. I started out with just what I had on hand, rocks and little bird houses. The only money I spent was to go to the nursery and buy some perennial ground cover plants. And then, as I said, I collect rocks wherever I go. That rose bush to the right hand side of that house was a Mother's Day gift. This is another gazebo. Came as a set with the other 2, especially made to put plants in the top. But you could make something like that. You just need some kind of a tray at the top with legs on it. These are some birdhouses my dad made out of pieces of log. So for me, this part of my miniature wee village is they live out in the forest. You could probably see up here we have big pine trees, so I have a plethora of pine cones and pine needles, again using what I have on hand. That was a pile of rocks we made while we were putting the wall in. Every time we ran into a rock we threw it in that pile, and I decided not to move it and to just leave it there. It's a feature. Some wood, pieces of wood my dad sliced up a tree. We both thought they looked cool. Another fairy house that my friend Cindy Glad made out of pottery. And this blue one as well. That was a wooden house I got from the thrift store many years ago. You can tell it's falling apart. I need to glue it. This was a little wooden house that a neighbor gave me. I had to do some water management up here. So the water starts up there. The water for the water feature comes down this stream and ends up in this pool, which then funnels down under the wall and comes out here. We have a conduit buried under there where we can run tubing under the wall. But we needed to make the elevation change so that the water would naturally run down to the pool, so the pool is low. So last night when I was watering all my brand new plants that needed to be watered, all the mud and everything washed down into the pool, which is a bad thing because we don't have a filter in there yet to keep that from clogging up. So this morning I spent some time doing some water management. I made this little walkway back here very low, almost like a ditch, so the water would run over there. I put a little dirt mound and rocks around the pool so water would not want to run in there. I dug a hole right here and put some big rocks and sand down the bottom and put a rock on top so I'd have a place to step. But that's another place water can go to disappear. Our natural dirt is clay full of rocks because we are on the original Grove Creek stream bed. So I have had to make a couple of places. The water just pools up here like crazy and sits on this nasty sticky clay. So under this, last night when I watered, this plate was just floating in a big pool of water, and I had only been watering for like 2 minutes. So I've dug a big hole, put big rocks in the bottom, then smaller rocks, then filled it full of sand, and then put that plate on top. So that'll be another place where water can go to disappear. I call this the Lake Powell guy. He's just living out on the slick rock, likes to swim every day, saving up for a houseboat. A lot of people at Lake Powell live on houseboats. As you can see, I buried some huge bricks so I would have stepping stones to get up here to work on the water feature and to get up here and weed. I tried really hard to think about leaving places for me to step. That rock that I put right there on that hole full of rocks and sand is another place I can step. I'll probably leave those big slabs over there so I have some place to kneel or step when I'm weeding. Oh, and then this is another fairy house made by Cindy Glad, Muddy Pants Pottery. But these are all the rocks I have collected at Bear Lake over the years. I've been going there since I was a young child. And I love the colors, so I filled it full of sand. This is the beach house. Makes me think of being at the beach with my brother growing up. Love it. Again, on the north side of the house, so it needed to be more of a rock garden because there's not a lot that will grow over there. And then coming down, I have 2 more steps so I can climb up there, and we're back to the beginning.